Hello everybody, I'm Lennert, I'm 20 years old and I'm also a student at West. I'm a diviner. I'm going to present to you Resynthesize. It's an audiovisual web experiment I created this year for my final assignment in the class Experimental Web. I did it together with Emil Adam. I think it's fair to say we both worked always together simultaneously, but Emil was more focused on creating design, the visuals, the animations, and I was more responsible for the code. So the briefing for this project was create a web experience using the latest web technologies. We are in the senior year, and we had to show that we can make a nice experience with technologies we've almost never used before. So we started with doing some research, looking into the different technologies, what they're capable of, and what we can do with it. And as I'm a musician myself, I play the bass in a small band, I was really pulled towards using web audio, together with web MIDI. I have a MIDI controller with me here today, and we've combined these technologies together with WebGL to create the following concept. It's called Resynthesize. Resynthesize means to form a material or abstract entity by combining parts or elements. And that's what the user does in our experience. We combine the visuals and the audio to create a world. So how it exactly works is as follows. Each played note generates a new object into an empty world. But the user has to keep on playing, as the elements disappear again over time. So in order to let your world grow, you have to keep playing the music. So a bit about the process. We always work together towards that minimum lovable product. The first version was really basic. It only had that main functionality, that creating the world, and along the way we added new features. Some of them were really great, had a real nice outcome. Others just didn't have that nice outcome or were not good performance for the performance, so we had to throw them away. But everything will be clear in a nice demo. All right. You can already hear it in the background. And there it is. I'm going to just refresh the pitch to be sure. Oh, it's a bit loud. I'm going to turn it down a bit. All right. We can go full screen, and this is our empty canvas. This is our empty world where we can create something. As you saw, a little panel was open here. Here's a menu where we can compose our own drum beats, set the beat per minute or the volume. This can also be done using shortcuts. One thing also about the beat per minute, it influences the speed of the wind and the movement of the particles, and also the speed in which the camera turns. So I'm going to turn it down a bit. As you see, there's also some copy right here, which guides the user through the different features that are available. These features can also still be found right here in the help panel. But I'm going to play a song. I'm not really good on the piano, but let's get this party started. Okay. So I'm really sorry for that, but thank you. And I'm gonna just, oh, I accidentally put it out of full screen mode, so I'm gonna put it right back. Oh, and the game challenged me. The experience challenges me. Here we have a sequence of notes. It's for the users who have already tried out some of the features. They can start actually a challenge. It's just a sequence of notes. It might sound familiar to some of you. I'm also gonna play it. It sounds a bit better in my opinion. Oh god, my fingers are trembling. And it tells me how fast I did it. It's just a mini game inside the full experience. And it can also be started from this panel up here. But I'm gonna take a look around at the world. I didn't play that much yet, so it's still kind of empty. It can still be better. I'm going to show you some of the extra features, like manipulating the sound effects. By moving the mouse, I can change the effect on the sound. As you saw, this tree appeared, and as I held down the mouse, I'm going to try to get to it. Yeah, that's better. It grew. That's also a small feature, a small extra detail to get more control of the world. As you hold down a note, the element scales up. But about the sound effects, if I use my arrow keys, I can change the set of sound effects that get manipulated. So here we have another set of sound effects. As you see, each element has its own animation. These animations were made in Blender, and we import those JSON files. In the whole project, there's not a single image or audio or video file. Everything gets generated by the browser, except for those JSON files, but they are around 150 kilobytes each. So it's kind of lightweight still. A nice feature, I think, are the playing chords. We speak of a chord when multiple notes are played at the same time. Famous chords are the minor and the major chords. Minor chords sound a bit like this. I have a cheat sheet right here. As opposed to the major chords, which sound a bit like this. If you've noticed, the minor chords sound a bit more darker, a bit more sadder than the major chords, which sound a bit brighter and happier. And this also influences the mood of the world. So if I keep on playing the minor chords, the world gets darker. And also the sound is more distorted. But if I play some major chords, we get the opposite effect. The world gets much brighter, and the sound is cleaner again. Also, a small detail is that there is 3D audio. If an element gets generated on the right side of you, it will sound louder out of the right stereo, but it's really subtle, because if you did it completely like that, the experience wasn't the same, it didn't sound that good. But that's about it. That's about everything I wanted to show you guys. I hope you enjoyed my talk. Are there any questions? I'm sorry. All right. Yes, and slide.
Can we play around with it later on?
Yes, sure. It's all online, and all the code can be found on GitHub too. My GitHub account is right there, or right here for you guys. Any more questions? Sure.
So, the object is on the right side.
Yes.
Is it so that the sound that you are right here first, then you're left here, or is just the hardness of the sound?
It's actually, you have two speakers, and the sound is louder out of the right speaker. So, especially if you're using headphone, it will sound louder in the right ear. Does that answer your question? Yeah.